So today in the last session, anyone having any issue regarding the programs, whatever program I have seen you in the last session? Anyone having any issue?
No, sir.
Okay. So today we are starting from the Java print variables. That same thing, the println method is often used to display variables. To combine both text and a variable, use the plus character. That plus symbol that is called that we can use that plus symbol for doing the addition, as well as in Java it is called the concatenation sign. This is called the concatenation sign. And when you called it concatenation sign and when you called it a addition symbol, plus symbol, let me tell you. Suppose string name, that string is the type of variable, that string type variable I'm declaring. Name, I am given a name to that variable equals to I have given a value, that is John. And that John I have declared within double quotes because that data type I have been declared as a string. So I have to give the value as a string. So that's why. And whatever I will declare within the double quote, that will be a string. So after that, my intention is to print something like that name having value is John, but suppose I want to print that hello John. I want to print before the John, I can print that John by calling that variable name, that is name. But what I wanted to do, I want to print without, I don't want to declare, so because here I have only declared only one variable, that is name, that is a string type. Without declaring any another variable, I just wanted to print in the screen that is hello John. So how can I do that? Look, that system.out.println, that is to print the that take the output from the that and print it in the screen. That's using the system.out.println. What I am doing within the double quote, I am writing hello, that is a message or that is a string. And in the very first program, in the very first Java program, I have shown you that system.out.println, and within that round braces, if I write something within the double quote, that will be printed in the screen, that as it is, it will be printed in the screen. And that means whatever you want to print it in the screen, that you can do it using that double quotes within the round braces, that will print as a message. So with that hello, I'm calling that name variable, and I am using that in between that, I'm using that concatenation symbol. That is a string, and that name is not a string. That name is the variable name. By calling this variable name, I can print that John. So what I am doing here, I am concatenating. That means I am merging two string, that John, by calling that variable name is name, and that with the hello, I am concatenating that a message with the variable. That's why whenever I will execute that program, that time that output will be hello and John, hello John, because hello plus that name of that variable name, and that value will be printed in the place of name variable, that is John. So it will be printed hello John. In fact, not only one time, you can use that concatenation symbol. Suppose you can use that. Let me show you that next example. Suppose in that, see that next example, that is string, that is a data type, that is a string type I have declared. And that first name, what is that first name? This is the name of that variable. You should name your variable now. So I have named it as first name, and I have given a value that is John. Another string I have taken, that is string last name, that name is last name, and that value I have given, that is Doe. Another string I have taken, string is the type, full name is the variable name. in that full name, what I am doing equals to that value I am assigning. I am assigning the value of first name and last name. That means that full name, what is the value of that full name? Full name, that is first name plus that concatenation and that last name. That means what is the value of that full name? I am assigning the value of first name and last name together to the full name. So whenever I am calling that system.out.println, and whenever I am calling that full name, what will be printed in your screen? Please tell me. Anyone?
John will print, sir.
John and
John Deere.
John Doe, huh?
yeah, because
Yes,
John Doe will be printed because I have assigned that value to that full name. Okay, that full name, value of full name equals to what is this? First name plus
First name plus last name. Yes, sir.
yes. So here we can do also one thing. Like, can you see that? We can the two variable I'm concatenating with the two variable and I'm assigning the value to another variable, that is full name.
So
And
we can also do this first name plus last name also. System dot out.
yes, we can do. Yes, we can do. Instead of that full name, not only that, that full name plus first name plus last name. That also I can do. That also I
Then
can.
two times we'll print the same name, sir.
Same thing, that will be printed full name. Now, what is the full name? Value of full name, that is John Doe. Then again in the what is the value of first name? That is John. And then again that what is the last name? That is Doe. That means John Doe, that will be printed. Okay.
Yes.
And not only the variable name, you can concatenate with some messages also here, like hello or bye bye or anything, any message, welcome to the world, welcome to the Java, any message, whatever you want to print it in your screen.
Yes,
That
sir. Yeah.
also concatenate using the concatenation symbol. And whenever you are merging a string with a variable or merging two string or anything like that, that time it will be called as the concatenation. Okay, that will be a concatenation. But integer x, I have that int, that is the data type is int, x is the variable name, equals to 5. I have declared int y equals to 6. Okay, and system.out.println x plus y, that the x and y, this is not the string, this is the integer number. Whenever, and what will be the output? X plus y, what that means? Value of x and value of y, that means 5 plus 6, that output will be 11. Why? That time that you are doing the addition, that time you will call that is the addition symbol. That the same thing that we are doing in terms of mathematics, that symbol we have used to do the addition, that symbol, that you can say that. But in terms of whenever you are merging, you are concatenating the variables with a string or two variables, three variables, that time it will called as concatenation symbol. But whenever you are doing the addition, that will be that plus, that same plus symbol, that is do that who can that can do the addition on all. And declare many variables, integer x, integer y, integer z. I have assigned value that x is 5, y having 6, and z having 15. And what I'm doing, system.out.println x plus y plus z, then the output, what will be the output? Output will be
61.
Yeah. And that is, instead of writing that thing, you can simply write that. Instead of writing that integer x is equal to 5, integer y equals to 6, integer z equals to 50, instead of writing in the separate line, and then you are doing the system.out.println, and within that round braces you are doing the addition. Instead of doing that, you can do that by in a single line, x equals to 5, y equals to that. But Look, in the if you are doing in the separate line, that time each and every line you need to declare the data type, that is integer. But whenever you are declaring it in a single line, that time you need to declare only once. The data type you need to declare only once, that is the integer type. And remember one thing, when you have declared the data type as integer, and whenever you are passing the you are naming the variable and you are passing the value, that time that value should be integer type, because you have declared that integer type variable. You can't put it, you can't give any string or char or any float or double anything. Okay, you need to, that's just because you have already assigned that data type is integer type, that time all the variables that you are declaring in a single line, that time you need to that value you are declaring, that value should be as integer type. So that's why x equals to 5, y equals to 6, z equals to 50, that you can write it in a single line. That time you don't need to don't need to declare the data type each and every time. After that, the system out of println x plus y plus z, that the same value will be printed in your screen. One value to multiple variables. Suppose here integer x equal having 5, y having 6, z having 50. Suppose if you want to declare the same value in the different variable, suppose I want to declare 50 for x, for y, for z, each and every variable I have created, I have declared, thus I want to declare the same value to each and every variable. That time you don't need to do it like that, integer x equals to 50, y equals to 50, z equals to 50. You just assign it in the one line, that is integer x, y, z, data type, then give the name, how many variables you want to declare, name, you need to give a name to that variable, each and every variable that you are declaring in a single line. In another line, what you are doing, x equals to y equals to z equals to 50, that means that x, y, and z having the same value, that is 50. And whenever you are doing that system.out.println and x plus y plus z, that means 50 plus 50 plus 50, the output will be 150. One value to multiple variable, the same value. And one thing, let me tell you, in terms of integer number, suppose int x equals to 5, int y equals to 6. If I put that 5 into a double quote, then what will be the output? I have put that 5 in the double quote. So what will be the output? Yes? Anyone? Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was disconnected for the poor connection. Let me share my screen. Okay. So is my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Yes,
just
sir.
tell me one thing.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
If I that 5, if I put it in the double quote, then what will be the output?
So 5
5
plus
6 5 6 आएगा
yes,
But why 5?
because
5 is a string number.
But
String.
हाँ
first of all, it will
yes
get
sir
an error. It will give an error because I have declared the data type as integer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that 5 I have put in within the double quote. That means it became a
double quotation not a single quotation होगा
yeah. No, it will not be a single quote. If I do it in the single quote, that time it is not a string. This is a character.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We
That
have to change its variable.
variable data type you need to change.
Hmm.
After that, if I assign that 5 within the double quote, that time it will be that time it will do the concatenation. It will not do the addition. Okay.
addition
Yeah. Java identifiers. All Java variable must be identified with unique names. Yeah, obviously I have told you that each and every variable you should give a unique name. This unique name is called identifiers. That means that name you are calling, that we are calling, that is variable name, that is called the identifier. What is the identifier? That means basically the name, like we all are human being and we all having a separate name. That is our identity. By calling the name, you can identify that particular someone that having that name. So like the same thing in the variable having the different name, that name is called as identifier. By you can by using the name you can identify that. There are some general rules for for naming a variable. Okay, you are giving a variable name, that in that when you are declaring the name, that time you need to follow some rules. Number one, names can contain letters, digit, underscore, and dollar signs. Name must begin with a letter. This is the mandatory thing. Whatever the name you are giving, that name can contain letter, digits, underscore, and dollar sign. But the first letter of your variable name have to be started with the letter, and name should start with a lowercase. Whatever the variable name you are giving, that name should be start with lowercase, cannot contain white space. And whatever the name you are giving, suppose if you are going to that example, that int minutes per hour, that aim have to be in the lowercase all the time. That should be started with a character, or that should be started with a letter, not should with a special sign or any number, any kind of number. And in between, and what is the point, cannot contain white spaces. That means within the within in between the variable name you can give the space like this. Okay, you can give a name space like this. Names can also begin with dollar, but will not use this in tutorial. Okay, so I can remove that thing. Better you shouldn't start with any dollar or anything. You should start with a names are sensitive. That name, whatever the variable name that you are creating, that is sensitive, because Java is case sensitive. Look at that my var within the names are case sensitive. Is my screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. My var, that within the double quotes, suppose that my var and there is another my var. If you can see, there are a little bit different. That is my var v is in capital, and that my var v is in small letter. That both the name having a huge difference. That is a little bit different, but that is a huge difference for Java, because Java is case sensitive. Whatever the name you are declaring in your variable, in the time of calling, that when you are calling that variable name, that name should match with whatever the name you have declared. You need to write it in the proper way, like in that minutes per hour, that minutes P I have declared as capital and H I have declared as capital. When I am calling, when I will call that particular variable name, that time I need to write it as it is. I have declared, I have named it in the time of declaration. If I that P and that H, if I in the time of calling, when I'm calling that variable name, in that time, if I write that P and that H in a lowercase, that time it will get an error, because that and that you are not matching the same name. Okay, because Java is case sensitive. Reserved keyword, that means reserved keyword like Java keywords such as int, boolean cannot be used as name. That means what is the reserved keyword? Like string, int, string, int, Java, float, double. Whenever you are naming your variable, if you want to give a name to your variable, like int, boolean, char, okay, If you want to give name like this, that you can't, because that name have been already reserved by the Java. That means because that int boolean, that is the data type, name of the data type, that name already reserved by the Java. You can't give a name like this, because that's are the reserved by Java. That's called that reserved keyword. Java data types: int float, that is for the integer, that I have told you already. Int integer, float, that is for the point value, char for the character, boolean for true and false, string for the string value. Data types are divided into two groups. Data types are divided into two groups. Primitive data types includes byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and char. And non-primitive data types such as string, arrays, and classes. You will learn about more about that non-primitive data type. And one thing, let me tell you that try to remember that 8 primitive data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, char. Because in the interview, that is a very important question. If someone is asking you that is Java object-oriented program, you will say yes, Java is object-oriented programming language. But if someone is saying that is Java 100% object-oriented programming language, what is your answer? Hello. If someone is asking you that is Java 100% object-oriented programming language, that time your answer should be no. No. Why no?
Because in this object oriented, here are some features like inheritance and abstract data handling. That's why it's not a object 100% object oriented programming language.
That's not there. That's inheritance, that polymorphism, that's are the object-oriented concept, oops concept, core concept that having Java. Just because of that, you can say that Java is object-oriented programming language. But you can't say that Java is not 100% object-oriented programming, because that Java having 8 primitive data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, char. That 8 primitive data type, just because of that 8 primitive data types, we can't say that Java is a object-oriented programming language, because that 8, that byte, short, int, long, that are not a object, that's are the data types. Just because of that 8 data types, object-oriented means that your programming language should be depend on only on object only. That should be only in object. But that 8 byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, char, that 8 data type, that primitive data type you are saying, that is not the object, that is the data types. Just because of that 8 data types, you can't say that Java is a 100% object oriented programming language. Okay.
Okay, sir. And my answer will like this, no? Yes, sir.
No. Your answer is like a lots of different. That means you are saying that Java having that oops concept, just that's why it's not object oriented. But just your answer is wrong. Why I'm saying your answer is wrong, let me tell you. Just because of in Java there are 7 object oriented, that oops core concept. There are 7 of oops concept, that is inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation,
Abstraction.
abstraction, composition, aggregation, association. There are 7 core concept of OOPS. Just because of that 7 concept, everyone says that Java is the object-oriented programming language. Just because of that 7 concept, and you are saying that having that, just because Java having that all that feature.
Yes, I understand you. Is my mistake.
Yeah.
I
So,
got it.
yeah. So just because of that 8 primitive data types, Java is not 100% object-oriented program. And try to remember that one also. If someone is asking you how many that data types, there are how many types of data type group? There are 2 types of group, that is primitive data type and the non-primitive data type. That's the name of primitive data type. And string, arrays, and classes. String, arrays, and classes, that are also data types, but that will be a non-primitive data types. We'll learn about that string arrays. We have already learned or not, we have not learned about arrays, we will learn. Java numbers. Primitive number types are divided into two groups. Primitive numbers types are divided into two groups. Suppose that is byte, short, int, long. That is the integer type. Byte, short, int, long, and floating type. That means float and double. That float and double. Basically, byte, short, int, long, both basically that like integer, that you are declaring that integer variable. Like in the previous example, we are declaring that integer variable. But how many integer number you can declare? Suppose if you are separating them like 5, 6, 7, you are separating them by comma, that is not a single integer value. When you are doing you are giving any comma in between the values, that 5, 6 and 7, that will accept as different value. But in a variable, we can't give multiple values against a one variable. Okay, so that means we can give only one value to a variable. But the size of the value, that means if I wanted to suppose that size, look at that size, how many 5 I have given. That is a single value because I haven't given any comma in between any 5. That is a single value, but there is a size difference. Look at that, integer type stores whole number, positive or negative, without decimal valid types are byte, short, int, long. Okay, that is the integer type, integer data type. And when you need to use that int or byte or long or short, when you should need to use, there are some size matter. That int I'm declaring, that means it having a size, a maximum size. That means when you are declaring a data type as an integer, that integer data type can store a certain size of values. Certain size of value. Suppose there can be, I forget the whatever the size of integer or byte or short. You can check it in the Google. I forget, and that is not that much necessary. I will never declare a variable like that. That kind of big variable I will not declare any. So there is a size matter in a byte, then short, that in, then long. In the long variable you are declaring, that means you can, that size of that long data type is the maximum size. You can store more variable than integer. That is basically the size. Am I able to getting you the point what I'm trying to tell you? What is that integer type? Stores whole number, positive or negative. That means byte, short, int, long, that 4 data types can store a integer type data. That means 4, 5, 6, that kind of data that can store. Float and double, that will store the like point values. But what is the difference between byte, short, int, long? Like if there's some size matters, if you are declaring byte, suppose they are the byte having size of 5, suppose more than 5 values, if you want to, if you can't declare in byte, that time you need to take a short data type. Suppose in that short you can store only 10 values. More than 10 values if you want to declare, that time you can take integer, because the but byte, short, int, long, each and every variable, that 4 integer type variable can store only integer type data. And that floating point having the same thing. When you are using that float, that means it having a like maximum size, maximum number of numbers, maximum number of integer value you can store against a float value. But when you are crossing the limit, if you want to give a more value to that time, that if you want to increase the size, that time you can use that double. At that basically depend on your users only. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Everyone
Yes,
has,
sir. Yes, sir.
look that byte my num 100. That 100 I haven't put it in the double quotes or single quotes or anything. I have put it, I just write it in the directly. That means that is an integer type, like this is not a string or a character, because this is not in the double quote or not in the single quote. Suppose look, the sort data type can store whole number like 32768 to 327, like that kind of thing. If you want to store more than more values, that time you can store that. The long data type can store whole number from that to that. This is not like, this is not possible for me to remember that thing, that how many numbers that long can store or that integer can store. This is used when int is not large enough to store the value. Okay, note that you should end the value with an L, because whenever like the float value, let me tell this to you. When you are taking a float data type, that means for float is for storing the point value. Whenever you are declaring a float data type, after giving the data type, after you are giving the name to your variable, then equals to 5.75, that value you have given, and that if you are declaring in the time of float type data, that like that, when you are declaring as long, that time after the value you need to give that L, you need to give that L. Okay, that is the syntax. Floating point and then the double point, and the double when you are using, that time you need to mention that D. Use float or double specific numbers, scientific
Sir,
numbers.
I have one doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, if we don't give L, then what will happen?
Look, that's it.
Long.
Uh, that long, after that, after giving that values, if you are not giving that L, that is the syntax of, yeah, that is the syntax basically. Like
Oh,
that is the syntax, like when you are giving the data type as a string, that time you need to give the value as a string.
yes.
Okay, that is necessary. Like the same thing, when you are declaring as long or float or double at the in the time of long, you need to give that L after the value. In the time of float, you need to give the A after. Whenever you are using the double data type, that time you need to give the D. That is the mandatory thing. Okay, that is created
Okay,
by
sir.
the Java. Otherwise, it will not. Suppose I haven't tried any time, but I think it will give an error or something like that. That's why Java have created that same thing. So JDK will understand that long or something, like I have never tried that.
Sir, one more doubt, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, why we don't give I for integer? Well,
No, we don't give. That is not necessary, because that is that thing we haven't created. That is created by the Java. Okay.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So as for the whatever we are doing, like we are declaring L for the long, F for the float, or D for the double, whatever we are doing as per the Java's direction.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, that is created by the
Got it.
Java.
Got it, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. That is the example of floating and double. Suppose float data type, then F1, that is the name of your variable, and 35E3F, that is a float type, and double D1, that F, I haven't used that point value, but I have given that F, and double D1 equals to 12E4D, that is a double data type. And what I'm doing, system.out.println F1 and system.out.println D1, whenever you will execute that program, it will not print only 35E3, that will, after that there will be point value 0.00 or something, it will be printed, because this is the float value. But the output, you haven't declared that point after that 35E3, you haven't give that point and then the value, but in whenever you are executing the program, that will be printed, whatever the output is coming in your screen, you try, please everyone try to execute that program. Then that time it will be more clear to you. Okay, everyone, I'm giving you 5 minutes, and in between that 5 minutes, try to execute that float example. First, try to create a class, then a class block you create. Within that block, create the main method, that is public static void main string args, and in between that main method block, declare that two variables and print it like this. Okay, please try to, everyone please try to execute that program so you can understand. Just you are saying that that is a float, your 35e3, that is not a float value, it will generate an error, but try to execute that. You can understand that properly, that what is that float and double. Everyone please try to execute that program. After that, I'm giving you 5 minutes,
Yes,
that
sir, yes.
12:54, and please everyone, within the one plus try to complete it. Is it done, everyone? Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So what is the output?
So F1 output is 35,000
And
and
is it,
D1 D1 is 12, 1, 2, 3, 4.
is it coming in floating or float or double value? It is coming in, is it coming in point value or not?
It is coming in integer. Mane ki 35,000.0.
Yeah, that point value is coming now.
Yeah. Point
That
value.
thing I just wanted to show you. That will come as a the look that in the time of declaration, the 35E3 you haven't give any kind of point or anything like that.
Hmm.
But in times of when you are executing that by calling the F1 and D1, that value is coming in point value because that is a float and double. That thing I just wanted to tell you. And like the same thing that the data type is Boolean, is Java fun true?
Sir,
Boolean, yeah, tell me.
sir, here in the float and double, here is small e and capital E. Is the both is the same? Can I use both capital
Uh,
E or small e?
that E,
Means can I
that
use
is the
alternate?
value. That is the value up to that 35E3, that is the value.
No, I means the one is small e and another is capital E.
That is the value that you can do, that you can declare anything. That is, there is no guidelines that you need to declare in capital or small, or that you in terms of E you can't use C or A, B like that. Okay, that is the value basically. And after that, if that is the necessary thing for declaring the float type data type. That is the value 35E3, that is the value. Every variable having a separate different values, like you are declaring in the previous example. Like the same thing, you are declaring a float variable, but you are not giving any point. Like float value means, that means what? That means that 35.0001, like that point value you are declaring. But you are not declaring any point values, you are declaring the values like this, that 35E3, that is the values you are declaring. And that if you need to declare whenever your data type you are declaring float, and that D you are need to declare D each and every time whenever you are using the double data type. And that 12E4, that is the value. That 12E4, that is the value. You can change it in terms of that 12E4, you can write anything as per your requirement, you can change the value. That is not necessary you need to declare like this each and every time. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like that, if you can see that program, that public class main, public static, that main, that name of the class is main, public static void main string args, that is the main method. Within that method block, what I'm doing, Boolean is Java fun equals to true, and Boolean is fish tasty equals to false. And system.out.println, that is Java fun, that is the name of your variable, and that Boolean is the data type. And what Boolean return? That Boolean only return only true or false. So whenever I am calling that is Java fun system.out.println, that will return you that true, and that system.out.println is fish tasty, that will return you false. That true false in the other variable, in like string, char, float, double, whenever you are declaring that variable, that time that value you can give as per your requirement, that any value you can give. But when you are using that Boolean, you need to give only two variables, that is either true or false. Only one you can give, because Boolean can only return the true and false. So Java characters, the char data types is used to store a single character. Okay. That char data types is used to store a single character. The character must be surrounded by single quotes like A or C, like it is surrounded by single quotes. I have already told you that when in the times of string, you need to declare it within the double quotes, and when you are declaring a character, that char, that should be within a single quote. That like that. And char migrate equals to within single quote, that is B, system.out.println migrate is whenever I am calling that migrate, that will return you that B. And another one thing, alternatively, if you are familiar with the ASCII value, you can use this to display certain characters. Character means, that means what? Character A, B, C, D, like that. So you can see char my var1 equals to 65. That data type I have declared as character, but here I have given the value as integer. Why? Can anyone tell me what is the ASCII value? What 65 that will return you the ASCII value, that whatever the character having that ASCII value? Can which character having the ASCII value is 65?
Capital A.
Yeah, that is the capital A. That is basically whenever you are declaring that character type, but you are declaring that 65 as an integer value, that time it will accept as a ASCII value. So whatever the ASCII value is present in behind that 65, it will be displayed when you are calling that my var2 is 66, my var3 that is 67. System.out.println, when you are calling that my var1, that whatever the character is present, that 65 ASCII value, that will be printed. And that, yeah, my var2 66, that is that character will be printed, and my var3 67, that is C, will be printed. That means ABC. Okay, that is basically accepting the ASCII value of the character that you are declaring. For that, you need to remember each and every ASCII value for the capital A to Z and small a to Z. Each and every ASCII value is there. Behind that, you need to uh, remember the ASCII value. But if you are not, if you are giving like the 25, there is no ASCII value is present like in 25. That will generate an error, because that time it will be a integer. String, the string data type is used to store in a sequence of character. A sequence of characters, string values must be surrounded by double quote. What is the difference between a char and a string? A string is a bunch of character. You can say that what is a string? That string is a bunch of characters. That means, and you need to declare a string within the double quote. That you need to declare a string within the double quote. That hello world that you can see in the screen, that hello world, HELLO, each and every word, each and every letter, that is a character. And that string, I am telling you that what is string? String is a bunch of character. That means by together, that I am calling that as a string. So whenever I am calling that system.out.println, that greeting, it will be printed that within the double quote, just because of I have declared that hello world, it will be printed that hello world. That is a string. So the next topic is Java typecasting. What is that Java typecasting? Typecasting is when you assign a value of a primitive data type to another type. In Java, there are two typecasting: widening casting and narrowing casting. We'll see. Just remember for the timing, if you see the example, that time it will very easy. There are two type of typecasting. Remember, widening casting and a narrowing casting. Let's see the widening casting. Basically, what is widening casting? That we haven't done already. Widening casting is public class main, which within that class block public static void string args. Up to that, this is the mandatory thing. After that, in between the main block, main method block, I am doing the programming. What is, I have declared an integer data type. My int is the name of your variable, equals to 9. I have declared int myInt. Int is for integer type data. Double my double equals to my int. Let's try to see that one. In the previous example, what I am doing, I am declaring int, suppose int my int equals to 9, that time int my double equals to my int. That kind of thing I am doing. But now what I am doing, that data type and that data type having huge difference, because that integer cannot store a point value and that double cannot store a integer value. Okay, that data type are different, but what I am doing, I am assigning the integer data type values to a double data type variable. Like int my int 9, that 9 is an integer type, that 9 I am declaring in the double where I should give the point value like 9.12, like that. Double my double equals to my int. That is called the automatic typecasting. Okay, so what it will happen, system.out.println my int and system.out.println, whenever you will execute that system.out.println my int having that value is 9 will be printed, and also double my double equals to my int. That means my double value is also 9, but double can only in double I can only declare a point value. So whenever I am calling that my double and I am printing it in the screen, that will the output will be 9.0, because that 9 will be converted, just because that 9 I'm assigning to a double variable. That time what will be happen, that 9 integer will not be 9 integer anymore, that will be converted into double and it will be printed as a point value. That is called automatic casting, and that is called whitening casting also. Basically, what is typecasting? Typecasting means basically we are just assigning a different data type variable to another different data type variable. That is basically the typecasting. And another type is narrowing typecasting. That time whatever we are doing, integer data type I am declaring within the double data type. That time what I will do, I will do double data type to the integer data type. That same thing but in the different way. Public class main, public static void main, within that main block, double my double equals to 9.78, integer my int, that double variable I am declaring within an integer type variable. Okay, that double variable I am declaring within a integer variable. So what will be happen, that integer data type should convert the double data type data value into an integer type. For that you need to mention that very data type here. That means that is that integer and that int within the route braces, you need to mention that. After that you need to declare the double variable, you need to assign the double variable. That is called manual testing. Basically that means what I am doing, a double variable data value I am converting it within the in a integer variable, and that just because we are converting into integer variable, that's why I need to write the data type manually before declaring the before assigning the variable name. Before that we need to manually give that we are converting your double data type value within. তোমার কানেক্টিং ছিল? হ্যালো হ্যালো
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Hello.
Yeah, again actually continuously I was getting disconnected because of the network issue. So up to where you have Notice
So narrow casting.
narrowing casting, just you have started because I was not aware that when I was disconnected.
Yes.
Public class main, public static void main string args. In that previous example, what we are doing, we are converting that integer, we are assigning the integer data type value, data value in a double data type value. So that time, what is happening in the previous example, that double data type is converting the integer data type into a double data type. So that's why it is printing in the screen as a point value. But that is called the automatic typecasting. And why it is called automatic typecasting, I'm telling you. In that narrowing casting, public class main, public static void main, within that main block, we are doing what, double data type I am declaring and giving a name to that double variable, that is my double, equals to 9.78d, that normal variable I have declared. After that, integer mind, I have declared another integer data type and I am given a name to that variable, that is mind, equals to the value of my double I am assigning to that mind. And before assigning that my double into that mind, I am declaring that I am manually writing that integer. Why? Because that data type are not same, but we are assigning the value to a different variable, different data type, right? So it should generate an error, but it will not, because it will. So in the previous example, like the integer data type I am converting into a double data type. Like here, we are doing what? Double data type, I want to convert it into the integer data type. Like that's why you need to manually mention that integer type. You want to convert that my double having the value, that point value, you want to convert it in the integer data type, that you need to manually mention that data type here also. But the previous example, do I need to mention that data type in that when you are converting that integer into a double? No, that time in the previous example, we don't need to mention that, like that. Double my double equals to my int. That time it will automatically converting the integer data type into a double data type. That's why it is called that automatic casting. And in the terms of narrowing casting, you need to mention that in which data type you want to convert it, that we are mentioning, that is integer. That's why manually you are telling that is the integer data type you need to convert. That's why it is called manual casting. And whenever what will be the output, system.out.println my double will be printed at 9.78, and system.out.println my int, that means that 9.78 that I have assigned to the my int and I have converted into an integer. That's why it will not print it as a point value, that will print as an integer value. That's why the output will be only 9. That 0.78 will be skipped, that will not be printed, because 9 is the integer number. Is it clear to everyone up to that? And the other?
Yes, sir.
Java, same operator, that plus concatenation operator. I'm not showing it again. Like same operators, Java divides the operators into following two: arithmetic operator, assignment operators, comparison operator, logical operator, and bitwise operator. What is that arithmetic operators? Plus, minus, multiplication, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, and the decrement. What is that increment and decrement? I'm not telling you right now. Later I will tell you what is that plus plus and what is that minus minus. Division is for dividing the thing, dividing. Modulus will return you the remainder, suppose if you are dividing that 5 by 2, that is the what is the remainder? That remainder will be 1. That if you want to get the remainder, that you can do using that modulus symbol. Okay, that plus plus and that minus minus, for the timing, just I'm telling you, plus plus, that means you are incrementing that by 1. Minus minus, that means you are decrementing by 1. That means if I say that x plus plus, that suppose we have declared x equals to 5, and in the next line I am writing x plus plus, that means what is the value of x is 5, and x plus plus, that means will be increased by 1, that is x plus 1, that will be 6, and the decrement operator x minus 1, that is 4. Plus plus increment plus, that is the pre-increment. There are two things, pre-increment and the post-increment. That x plus plus is the pre-increment, and plus plus x, sorry, that x plus plus is the post-increment, and plus plus x is the pre-increment. We will learn it later. For the timing, you just remember that. That is the arithmetic operator. There are another thing, that is assignment operator. Assignment operator are used to assign values to variable. In the example below, we use assignment operator to assign the values 10 a variable called x. Int x equals to symbol is the assignment operator. Okay, that x is the assignment operator. The addition assignment operator, plus equals to adds a value to a variable. Let's see, int x equals to 10 and x plus equals to 5. That means what is this?
50.
Plus equals to, that means x plus equals to 3. That means x equals to x plus 3. X plus equals to 3, that means suppose x equals to 5. Okay, x equals to 5, and in the next line I am writing x plus equals to 3. What is that x plus equals to 3? It is basically x equals to x plus 3. That means the value of x, that is 8. That is the plus equals to minus equals to into, that's the same thing. And that example is here. Suppose that public class main, public static void main, into that main block, integer x equals to 10, x plus equals to 5, that means x equals to x plus 5, that means 10 plus 5, that is 15. And whenever system out of println x we are doing, that means it will be printed as 15. That is called the assignment operator. Equals to, plus equals to, minus equals to, that assignment operator. Comparison operator. Double equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals to. Double equals to, that means equals to means, suppose you have declared that double equals to is basically, what is that? It will compare. Equals to, that is compare, that is 5, x equals to 5, that is, but that x, suppose that data type you have declared that x as a string. Okay, string x equals to, within the double quotes you are giving 5, and then you are comparing, that will basically that double equals to will compare that data type also, that data type also. Suppose what I'm saying here, let me tell you. Okay. String x equals to 10, sorry, in string equal x, string x I have declared, string x I have declared, okay, and I am comparing x double equals to 5. Okay, that x is a string type and that 5 is that a string type. No, this 5 is not a string type. That means what? It is comparing that data type also. Okay, in the next example, we'll learn that what that double equals to, okay. Plus equals to, we have learned that double equals to, not equal to, it should not be equal to or not, that greater than and that less than. Greater than or equal to, that means have to be greater or equal. Have less than equals to, that means have to be lesser or equal. We'll see an example, and that time everything will be clear more. Logical and, there are logical operators and or not. There are three logical operators, that is and, or, and not. Logical and, what is that logical and? In when you are using that logical and, returns true if both statements are true. That means what statement? Here you can see that x less than 5 and x less than 10. Suppose you have given a value to that x, any value you have given, and that whatever the value you are giving to that x, that will be like that, that using that condition, using that and operator, logical and operator, you can compare whatever the value you have given to that x, that value of x is less than 5. Is that condition true? If is that condition is true, again it will check is that less than 5 and less than 10. If that condition is true, both the condition have to be true, that have to be whatever the value you are declaring of x, that value should be lesser than 5 and lesser than 10 also. If both the condition is become true, that time only it will return you true. That time only it will return you true. If any one condition is become false, that time it will return you false. That means in the logical and operator, both the condition you are giving, that both the condition have to be true. If any one condition is become false, that time it will return you false. Suppose you have given the value of x is 6. Okay, you have given a value of x is 6. Is the value is lesser than 5?
No.
No, but lesser than 10. One is true, one is false. But when you are using the logical and, both the condition have to be true. Then only it will return you true. That time one is true, one is false. That time it will return you false, because only one condition matched, but another condition is not matched. Okay, but in terms of logical or, that 2 5 sign is the symbol of logical or. In terms of logical or, any condition is become true, it will return you true. Any one condition, whatever the value you are given, have to be x lesser than 5 or lesser than 4. Okay, that time any one condition is become true, it will return you true. Any, but if only in when you are using the logical or operator, only if both the condition is become false, then only it will return you false. But only one condition is true, it will return you true. And logical not operator is what? Logical not operator. How to use that logical not operator? Reverse the result, return false if the result is true. And how you can use that logical not operator? How you can use that logical not operator? That is the symbol of logical not. That is the symbol of not. Okay. After that, with the round braces, you need to give the condition using the logical and operator. And I'm giving x less than 5 and x less than 10. If both the condition in the logical and, if both the condition is true, then it is returning you what? It is returning you true, because the both the condition is true. And if any one condition is become false, that time it is return you the false. That means what? Logical and both condition true, return true. Any one condition is false, that means it is returning false. But when you are using that not, if both the condition is true, it will not operator, what not operator do? It is basically return you the opposite result. Your condition is true, it will return you false. Your condition is false, it return you true. Okay, because you are using logical not operator and it is return the reverse result. True, when you are true, it will say false. When you are false, it will say true. That time what? Both the condition is true, it will return you false. Both the condition, any one condition is false, it will return you true. That means it will return you the opposite result. Is it clear to everyone up to this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
String is clear to everyone. String greeting, double quotes. That means that is a string. Suppose string text equals to A to Z I have declared, and suppose I don't want to calculate what is the length of that string. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. I don't want to count it. But I want to know what is the length of that string. I just wanted to know. And in Java, there is a inbuilt method. And what is that method for the timing? And let me tell you, you can identify a method. Suppose any name, after that round braces have been open and closed, that is the method. You can say that is the method. And what is that method? In the C++, that function you have learned, that function we called it in Java a method. That means only the difference between the name. In C++ we called it function, in Java we called it method. And that Java having some inbuilt method. By using that method, you can perform some task, a little task. Like if you want to know the length of your string, that string you have declared as txt, and then that a long string you have declared, and you want to know the length. You don't want to print it, but you want to know the length. That you can do. There is in Java, there is an inbuilt method that is length, length, inbuilt method. By using that method, you can know the length. So how can I do? System.out.println, and within the double quotes, I am passing a message, because system.out within the round braces, within the double quotes, if I write anything, that will accept as a string, and that it will be printed in the screen as it is. So the length of message I am just declaring, that I'm just a simple message I am writing. The length of the txt string is plus, that means we are concatenating text dot length. How to use that length property, length method? Text, what in that length is used for knowing the length of your variable, and that time of which variable you want to know the length, that name you need to give. Dot length is the inbuilt method. Simple message I am printing, you can skip that also. You can keep that also. Okay, you can keep that also. If you are writing txt, that variable name you need to mention, that variable you need name, that variable name that you want to know the length of that value, the value. Dot length, if you are executing that program, whatever the length of that value is, it will be printed like 1, 2, 3, 4. That count, it will count the whole, then it will return you the number. But here what I am doing, I am passing a message, so we can understand better, and we are concatenating the length property. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are some more string inbuilt method. There are many string methods available. For example, two uppercase and two lowercase. Like the length, like the length, you can know the length. Two uppercase and two lowercase. Suppose string txt dot hello world. If you want to that value of txt, that if you want to make the whole value in capital or a smaller letter, you can use that two method inbuilt method, that is two uppercase and two lowercase. System.out.println txt, the variable name you need to mention, that variable name you want to make it as uppercase or lowercase, then use the dot, then the two uppercase, and system.out.println txt dot two lowercase. Whenever you will execute your program, that whole hello world will be printed like the in capital and in the lowercase. By using you, so you can make it as the whole value as capital or the whole value in lowercase. That is the use of uppercase and lowercase. Finding a character in a string. Uh, Finding a character in a string. There is another inbuilt method. There is another inbuilt method is there, that is index of. Finding a character in a string. The index of method returns the position of the first occurrence of a specified text in a string, including white space. That means in terms of index number, and let me tell you what is the index number. When you are calculating the length, that length will be start calculate from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the length. But in terms of index number, when when we will do the array, that time I will explain it to you properly. In terms of index number, you are calculating, that time it will be started from the 0. That means, and system suppose string txt equals to, please locate here, locate occurs. That value I have passed to the text variable, and I want to know the position of that locate. That locate, I want to know the position. Where is that locate is present? In which index number it is present? System.out.println txt, the variable name dot index of. That index of method you need to use, and you need to mention that locate, because we want to know the position of locate. Okay, and it will return you 7. How it is returning you 7? In terms of index number, it will start counting from 0. P in the 0 number index, L in the 1 number index, E in the 2, A in the 3, S in the 4, E in the 5, including white space, that white space in the 6. From the 7 number of index, that locate is present. And another thing you notice, there are two locate. In that value string txt having two locate, like that. But which one it is taking? It is taking the first occurrence. That first locate it is taking, and it is telling the position. Okay. It will, there can be that locate can be 100 times, but it will tell you the position of the first one. Yeah. Is that clear to everyone? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today we will complete up to the math function. In the next session, we will start from the Java if else. Okay. To uppercase, lowercase, that index of Java numbers and strings. Adding numbers and strings. Okay, warning. Java uses the plus operator for both addition and concatenation. Numbers are added, strings are concatenated. I've told you already. That's same thing. Integer x equals to 10, integer y equals to 20, integer z equals to x plus y. That means the output will be 30. String x equals to 10. Look, 10 is an integer number, but I have just because I have put it into the double quotes, that's why it is taking as a string. Y equals to 20, x y, that time it is not adding, it is concatenating. Another example, if you add a number and a string, the result will be string concatenated. String x equals to double quote 10, that is a string, int y equals to 20. That means here you are, what you are doing, you are concatenating a string with an integer number. That time it will be except that that will return is 10 and 20. Java math function. The Java math class has many methods that allows you to perform mathematical tasks on numbers. Mathmax. What is that mathmax? Like the previously index of length, two uppercase, two lowercase, like the inbuilt method in Java having. Like the same, there are some inbuilt method like math.max, math.min, like that. And what is that math.max? In the previous example, I have told you that round bases have been opened and closed, that will accept as a method. Okay. And within the round braces, whatever you are writing, that is called a parameter. Okay. Within the round braces, whatever you are doing, whatever you are writing, that is a parameter. Here, math.max 5 and 10. 5 and 10, two parameters I have declaring within that method. Why I am declaring two parameters? I want to know math.max. That means the maximum value I want to know in from that. In terms of 2, you can write 10. Just because here is only two parameters, that's why you can say 10 is the max value. If there is 500 parameters, that time you want to compare each and like 500 times you need to compare each and every with each and every value. That will a lot of, it will take a lot of time. So that time we can do it using that math.max. If you are using that math.max within the round basis, you need to mention the values, whatever the value you want to compare and want to pick up the maximum value. Okay, using the max function, that math.max method, you can pick up the maximum value from the between from the different values. And the same thing, math.mean, the math.mean xy math can use to find the lowest value. Same thing, max is for the maximum value, mean for the minimum value. There is another one, math.sqrt, that means this is the square root of x. Just mention the 64, and can anyone just tell me what is the square root of 64? Yeah,
8.
8. It will return you the square root of 64. Okay. Still we have times, but will not do it. That Java if else is the separate one. Okay, let's do Java if else. Java conditions and if statement. Java supports the usual logical condition from mathematics, like less than equals to, greater than equals to, not equals to. Okay, you can use this condition to perform different actions for different decisions. Java has the following condition statement: if, else, if and switch. Let's see the what is that if statement. That means what? Less than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to. Using that thing, using that conditions, you can do, you can, but will use that conditions, less than, equal to, greater than, that will be used in the if else, else if and the switch. Let's see what is that if statement. Use the if statement to specify a block of Java code to be executed if the condition is true. First of all, see the syntax. What is the syntax of using if statement? You need to give if round braces, that in between that round braces, you will declare the condition. That condition, what condition? A is less than B, A less than equals to B. That condition that I'm showing you, that I was showing you, that A less than B, A less than equals to B, that is a condition. That is the condition. You will check by using that condition. You will check is the value of A is less than value of B. Is the value of A is less than or equals to value of B. That is the condition you will use in that, in the place of that condition within the round braces. Like the class, when you are creating a class, you are creating a block by using the curly braces. Under that class block, you are writing, you are creating the main method. For the main method also, you are creating another block for that main method. Within that main method block, you are programming, you are doing the coding. Like the same thing, within that main block, you need to give that if, then the condition, and for the if statement, you need to create a separate block also by using the curly braces open and the close. Let's see the example how we use the if statement. If within the round braces, we need to give what? We need to give the condition, and that condition we are giving is 20 is greater than 15. If 20, if that, then the condition is 20 is greater than 15. If that condition is true, and why I'm creating that block, if that condition you are giving here, if the condition is true, that time only it will enter the if block. When it will enter the if block, it will see that system.out.println, and it is saying to print the 20 is greater than 18. Okay, understood? If condition within that block, what we are doing, system.out.println 20 is greater. Okay, int x equals to 20. Here what I am doing, I'm giving the value 20 is greater than 15 or not. I'm checking the condition. At here another example, I'm declaring variable data type, that integer data type x is the name of your variable, equals to 20 is the value. Int y equals to 18, integer is the data type, y is the variable name, 18 is the value. And here I am using that if x is x greater than y, then only enter the block of if and print system.out.print x is greater than y. I have given value to that x and y, and I'm using the if. I am checking is the value of x is greater than y or not. If the value of x is greater than y, then using the if block, it is, I am printing x is greater than y. That is the use of if block. Okay, if statement. And what is that else statement? The else statement used else statement to specify a block of code to be executed if the condition is false. Suppose x is greater than y, then it is printing that then if the condition is true, then it is entering the if block. That curly braces open close, under that block I have written that here, then only it is printing x is greater than y. If the condition is false, then what will happen? Then what will happen? That time it will not printed x is greater than y. That will not be printed because that condition is false. So that time nothing will be,
Error.
no error no will be not there. Nothing will be printed. That error will be not there. Nothing will be printed. So if nothing will be printed in the screen, that time you can become confused. My code is running or not, because no output you are getting. That's why you can use that else part. Int time equals to 20. Int time equals to 20. Int data type, time is the name of your variable 20. If I'm using the if statement, if time less than 18, I'm checking the condition. If the time is less than 18, then print system error printer and good day. If the time is not less than 18, that time else part. Else, if the condition is became false, if that if condition, when that if condition is became false, it is coming to that else part, and it is printing system order printer and good evening. That means what? If else, it is the previous was if statement, and that is the if else statement. Okay, that is the if statement. If the time is less than 18, then only enter the if block. If the condition is true, then only enter the if block. If the condition is not true, if the time is not less than 18, like that, then it will not enter the if block. So it will go where? It will enter the else part. It is coming the else part and printing the good evening. Are you getting what is the use of else and what is that if statement? Hello, hello everyone.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear to everyone that is what is that if and else statement? What is the use of that if else statement?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so up to that. So in the next session, try to like notice that in the next session we will start that else if statement. If else statement we have done, that else if statement will start in the next session.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so up to that, anyone having any issue?
No, sir. No.
Okay, so try to practice. Okay, let me stop the recording.